How are you?
I'm okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'll ask you a few questions about your painting.
Do you want to live a long time? I don't have big ambitions about it. I think that being gay in the art world is just another new power structure that's not really articulated enough.
That's not articulated
Yeah,
enough?
or do you feel it's like articulated enough?
I guess ideally, you know, the ideal situation is that it's a power structure that doesn't have to be articulated.
You're interested in this idea of countertransference, right? Where the patient becomes the therapist, right? So then I wondered, with your work, who's who, if you're the patient or if you're the therapist?
And one of the points you've made that I think is interesting is that psychoanalytic theory really didn't take, wasn't informed enough by homosexuality.
Or this idea that you fetishize the idea of the painter, which has become like something that you're not, like painting has become almost, I feel like this amoral act, like that has to do with money, corruption, power, and it has to do with all that. But somehow you have a whole generation like paint little squatty paintings, and it's very sensitive, and I kind of thought it was like there's also like a kind of fetish that you kind of look at your own paintings as kind of fetish, and you feel like and this idea of like, or maybe it was also like this idea of like acting this out, you know, acting out a certain kind of moral attitude in the way of relating to your own paintings. I see my paintings as they observe you, in a way. So my paintings also observe me, so it makes sense that I could also dress up. I think it's weird that artists, for instance, pay so little attention to what they wear. It's an aesthetic profession. I mean, let's face it, a painting is also aesthetic experience. You stand in front of it, look at it, everything is shit, everything is beautiful, whatever. But it's weird they are so disconnected as persons. I mean, Jean Cocteau dressed great. I think that a painting is like, is connected to the person who did it.
And as I understand it, they filmed you painting in really elegant suits. What was the point of that?
And I'm interested in also what's not relevant. It's a very interesting thing to look at, like, and ask yourself.
Why are you interested in what's not relevant?
Because why do everything has to be so relevant? I think it's a formal issue of like, when you do painting, you need to know where to start. You have a blank canvas.
Right.
You know, you need to know where to begin.
Right.
And you know when to stop.
Yeah.
So you can say, what motivates those two actions? I mean, that can be very, very different motivations, right? But I think still it's kind of like, for me, it's like, that's what I think has a lot to do with creating an art piece. I think that those borders of, like, if you say, like, what is the context, what's the content of the painting, can be limitless.
You think?
But I think the formality of it needs to be kind of structuralized.
Right. And sometimes you say that there's somebody, you feel like there's somebody standing behind you watching you as you paint.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's sort of a third, that there's someone watching you, like objectifying you as a painter as you're doing it?
Yeah, for sure.
So you see yourself as a painter when you're painting.
Yeah.
And you're imagining somebody
Yeah, for sure.
Like saying,
Yeah.
like judging you as you're doing it.
Yeah. In my studio, I hear certain sounds, whatever. It feels like people are behind the painting, somebody's in the studio. I mean, things that are like put in weird things.
I mean, some of it might be artistic sensibility, that you're hypersensitive. That's what artists often are. Very self-involved, need to be that way. But also the drugs heighten your sensitivity. Do you take risks? Physical risks?
Like what?
With your life?
I feel sometimes when I'm alone in my flat at night, I take physical risks. Because I feel like people can lock themselves in and just kill me. Or I'm in my bed and I lock the door and I kind of hear people rambling inside with papers or whatever.
But that's...
And then you try to, that sometimes you just are totally freaked out, and sometimes you think that, you know, you just take sleeping pills enough to sleep it away.
But then, you know, as I've told you, then the next day, the sleeping pills wear off and your nerves are
even more
hyper,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because of they're escaping from the sedative effects of the sleeping pills. You think your work is crap?
I think part of what I was doing, it was kind of like that, yeah. It's not something I don't think it's that interesting.
But you've had a measure of success. People seem to respond to your work.
I had also periods for 2 years where I didn't get a fucking phone call from a gallery. I think people kind of forget that.
It's the same as everybody says, well, art, we need to change. I have to change. I have to change. I have to change my look. I have to change my diet. I have to change my life. I have to change. Every people are saying like, I have to change. I have to change. I don't think we should change anything. Should we just drop the whole idea of change totally? Like, skip it. Skip trying to be a good person. Skip trying to be a good artist. Skip trying to be a good human being. Skip, you know, political ideas. Skip it. Just drop it and leave other people alone.
I mean, last night's shoot didn't feel like a regular film shoot.
What did you do? What were you shooting last night?
We were in the studio with these pigs. I think that beauty is like so complicated and complex.
Right.
And such a difficult theme.
Right.
Because you also like, I think that certain aspects of beauty is not verbal.
I was talking about the Heisenberg uncertainty principle that...
Which I don't really get, but you...
he was this brilliant physicist who realized through mathematics that when you observe anything, large or small, it changes the behavior of that, even if they're subatomic particles or if they're grown-up humans. Watching them changes everything.
I guess that what I feel we share that's common, unless the many things that's very different, is that I'm not particularly interested in the concept of reality.
Right.
it doesn't really interest me. So I kind of like, I won't say that I differ between reality and fiction either. I'm much more interested in stories. You know what I mean?
And
I see this idea, like, you know, like I told about this, my therapist told me about this friend of his who dumped his boyfriend. That was so gorgeous, and he said, how could you dump that guy? And he said, I dumped him because he didn't have any good stories to tell.
It depends on how authentic the performance is.
Yeah, but how authentic can a performance be? I mean...
There should always be enough reflection or enough of a trace of reality so that that remains a possibility without necessarily having to believe it.
Why does it have to do that?
Because I think that that's what makes narrative compelling. I think that's what makes your work compelling, is that people think it could be real. There's enough of the real in it that people think that there could or could not be like a rupture between your work and your life, or like a portal between your work and your life, where, you know, information or events sort of channel back and forth. Otherwise, it's not compelling.
Well,
I mean, it's why Aliens. Do you remember when we talked about Aliens?
I don't think that my works need to be compelling.
You don't think your work needs to be compelling?
No, I don't. Why does it need to be compelling?
Because if it's not compelling, then it sort of doesn't...
Do it?
It's a dead object.
Well, that's what painting is. It's a dead surface.
Of course it is, but I think
I mean, that's like the sadness of a painting, is to relate to a white dead surface with dead colors.
Well, of course, but I think that especially at this point, historically, unless you're able to transform that surface into something that's more than about materiality and perspective and,
but
you know, all
like
of these...
materiality, perspective, and color, that can be so complicated components to work with. That can be more than enough to try to manage. But I'm very interested in the idea of a painting that is not what we observe, but the painting observes us.
Being an artist is extremely narcissistic.
Well, yeah, this is for sure. But I think it's something more than that.
What?
I think it's just that the paranoia and the kind of hallucination I used to have before, they're so specific. Like some film crew recording, there's like will be like a camera in the septic tank, or there's a camera in the bathroom and in the toilet, or whatever. Everywhere there will be somebody filming, recording, whatever you do.